Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 229. Without any delay, start explanation. Tang Wulin shook his head. How could he possibly have known, since the Tang sect's Dolor Hall Master had always been an enigmatic person? Even though Tang Wulin was a fighter at present, he was still considered far below the higher-ranking officials of Tang sect. Mu Yi spoke softly. His title is Heartless Dolor Cao Deshi. It was Tang Wulin's first time to hear of the Tang sect's current Dolor Hall Master, also the Tang sect master's name. His eyes widened in surprise instantly. Have you managed to associate anything yet? Mu Yi's eyes were flickering with radiance. Tang Wulin shook his head in a daze. Heartless Dolor? Amorous Dolor? Mu Yi spoke, life can be heartless, but you may still meet people full of passion. Amorous love loathes itself for wrongly devoting love for the heartless. Legend has it that the amorous Dolor and the heartless Dolor, cough. There's no need for me to explain anymore, is there? Tang Wulin widened his eyes instantly. So you're saying that both men are gay? Yes. Mu Yi raised his brows. Don't ever mention this to anybody other than the people in this house. This is one of Tang sect's biggest secrets. Tang Wulin felt uneasy all over. The Dolor Hall Master, Heartless Dolor, and the Vice Hall Master, Amorous Dolor, were a couple? This was... Teacher, is your information reliable? Tang Wulin asked Mu Yi. Unreliable, of course. Mu Yi spoke in a rational and natural manner. Tang Wulin almost spat out a mouthful of blood from rage. Why are you still saying that? If it's unreliable, aren't you afraid? Mu Yi laughed and spoke, I'm just pulling your leg. Moreover, it's not a groundless rumor, since it's a legend. There's certainly some rationale behind this. For instance, the Heartless Dolor and the Amorous Dolor have never married according to my knowledge. They were both from a generation of great talent, so there are certainly many outstanding women that fancy them. Could it be that there's none that they fancy? Also, these two men have an extremely close relationship all along. They lived wandering from place to place during the early years and performed deeds of valor for Tang sect. Their titles are also obscure as such. Tang Wulin heaved a sigh of relief and said, You're just making groundless accusations. Mu Yi sniggered. The Amorous Dolor spread love everywhere, while the Heartless Dolor never had any scandals. Legend has it that the Amorous Dolor indulged in worldly pleasures to conceal his relationship with the Heartless Dolor. I don't know much about the specific details, but they are not considered normal anyhow. Tang Wulin coughed dryly. It was better for him not to join in his senior's conversation. He knew that Mu Yi did not have any ill intention, although Mu Yi was quite vocal during the conversation. After all, Body Sect and Tang Sect were in a rivalry during the early years. Body Sect became less domineering, while Tang Sect grew bigger and more powerful with the passing of time. The relationship between the two sects was already strained since earlier. Mu Yi's culinary skill was genuinely good. In addition to the exquisite ingredients, he concocted a table full of scrumptious food for lunch. Zhenhua invited the guests to take their seats. The Amorous Dolor, Zongxin, undoubtedly took the host seat, since he held the highest position among the group of people. Tang Wulin naturally sat at the most junior seat at the table. He could not help feeling that he was letting a wonderful opportunity slip by as he looked at the scrumptious meal that filled the dining table. He could not just chow down the delicacies with so many seniors around. Hence, he could only feast with his eyes. Zhenhua found a bottle of wine, whose packaging was aged, from some unknown place. He poured a cup for everyone, including Tang Wulin as well. My bottle of dragon blood wine has a very long history, so I've always been reluctant to drink it. It was given by a dear friend back then. Today's just the right day to savor it. The wine was colored amber with a faint fragrance. The fragrance was special, as its scent was similar to sandalwood and even a little like eaglewood. Tang Wulin had a cup to himself. He had never tasted wine, so he was curious. Cheers to Senior Zong and all my good friends. Zhenhua raised his cup as he gave a toast. Zongxin smiled as he raised the cup. Dragon blood wine, this is definitely good stuff. I haven't tasted any for many years. It smells like Scarlet Dragon's dragon blood. Strong and fragrant with a thick fire element essence. It's good for expelling ghastly evil energy and strengthening one's blood essence. Furthermore, it's good for nourishing one's masculinity. Other than Tang Wulin, the rest of the male title Duluos cracked into heartfelt smiles upon hearing the words, nourishing masculinity. Zhenhua gave a thumbs up. Senior Song is truly an expert. Cheers! He was the first to empty his cup. Dragon blood wine? Tang Wulin looked curiously at the wine in the cup. He too emptied his cup as he watched everybody empty theirs. The dragon blood wine tasted sweet and pleasant, but it was very strong. Tang Wulin felt a surge of heat spreading across his chest instantly, followed by the feeling of a warm liquid flowing into his stomach. All the pores on his body seemed to open up in the next instant. 2 scarlet patches could be seen on his cheeks while his vision became blurred. What a strong wine! It felt so comfortable. He felt his body beginning to relax at present. He felt as if his bones, meridians, bloodline, and skin were rejuvenated. His entire body felt warm and fuzzy. Soon, his skin was flushed with a layer of redness. He looked to the title Duluos once again and found that they appeared no different from usual. There was no doubt that there was a disparity between their powers. The energy contained in the dragon blood wine was so strong that Tang Wulin was incapable of absorbing the energy instantly with his cultivation base. However, all of a sudden, Tang Wulin heard a clang sound radiating from his body. Soon after, his blood essence began to surge wildly while his entire body stiffened. Oh no! There appeared to be a problem. His 9th layer seal had just broken. The dragon blood wine had stimulated the bloodline aura that was constantly being suppressed by Tang Wulin. It broke the Golden Dragon King's 9th layer seal at one go when his bloodline aura arose abruptly. Actually, Tang Wulin did not know much about the dragon blood wine. Otherwise, he would not have drunk it. The dragon blood wine was, of course, a potent nourishing drink. Zhenhua had served it as a polite gesture, but the drink was not meant for everyone. Tang Wulin drank it not knowing its nourishing effect would be so potent. Although he had the Golden Dragon King bloodline, the Scarlet Dragon blood was from a true dragon as well. However, the Scarlet Dragon's rank was inferior to the Golden Dragon King. How could the Golden Dragon King bloodline not be infuriated by the Scarlet Dragon bloodline's presence? Even though the dragon blood wine was consumed as a drink, the Golden Dragon King bloodline immediately became frantic. Subsequently, it was fairly easy for the Golden Dragon King bloodline aura to break through the 9th layer seal, which was already precarious at one go. Tang Wulin was blushing scarlet on his cheeks the moment before. Now, the violent energy fluctuations erupted with his body as the center. The golden scales appeared on his skin and covered his entire body within seconds. Tang Wulin was already capable of covering his whole body with golden scales without using the golden dragon body after the first 8 out of the 18 golden dragon king seals were broken. Currently, breaking the 9th seal would become the final polish on his scales. The intense bloodline aura surged out while a low dragon's roar began to radiate out of Tang Wulin's bloodline vibration. The chair underneath him shattered instantly, and he landed onto the ground. Tang Wulin did not worry about anything else at this moment. He controlled his body with great effort by sitting cross-legged on the ground. Since he had been equipped with the ability to break the 9th layer seal, he could stabilize himself at the crucial moment. Otherwise, he would be lying on the ground in pain similar to his previous episodes of breaking the seals. The group of title Duluos were also startled. Xu Shengchuan spoke in astonishment, "Brother Zhenhua, your wine is a little too strong, huh?" The child. Zhenhua was also surprised. His eyes were filled with confusion as he looked at Tang Wulin. It shouldn't be. Even though the dragon blood wine is potent, Tang Wulin should be able to withstand a small amount with his physical qualities. How did this happen? Could it be that his cultivation base has achieved calmness and is about to have a breakthrough? That's not right either. His soul power should have just achieved rank 50 recently, so there's still a huge gap before his next bottleneck. Not his soul power. Zongxin walked to Tang Wulin's side, squinting his eyes. It should be a breakthrough similar to his ability, but it's not his soul power but the change in his bloodline aura. It's a highly domineering energy that strangely conforms to his body completely. Mu Yi walked to Tang Wulin's side as well. He understood Tang Wulin's situation most. He knew that the bloodline in his body was the dragon type, and it was probably triggered by the dragon blood wine. However, Zongxin could not tell whether Tang Wulin was in any danger or not. Mu Yi, on the other hand, thought that it should not be a big concern. Gradually, Tang Wulin became calmer, and he appeared to be fine. Zongxin smiled. All right, let's continue our meal. Perhaps he'll recover by the time we are done eating. Tang Wulin could sense the Golden Dragon King essence burgeoning in his body akin to a blowout at present. After the last portion of his body was covered in golden dragon scales, it formed a special circulation of energy on his skin that was being continually produced. Tang Wulin's bloodline energy was powerful all along, but he required large amounts of food as replenishment. A large portion of his bloodline energy would be consumed each time it was used, and he would be in a weakened state once it was exhausted. However, it felt different this time. The surging bloodline energy began to form miraculous vortices on the surface of his skin. These vortices and his mysterious heaven method soul power circulation in his meridians did not conflict with each other. On the contrary, the portion of bloodline power initially stored in his meridians was slowly being absorbed by his skin. The bloodline power circulated underneath his skin while the soul power circulated in his meridians. A strange reaction began to appear when these dual circulations were being separated continuously. First of all, Tang Wulin's mysterious heaven method soul power circulated in an even smoother manner than before. The speed of its circulation began to increase as his soul power vortex spun smoothly. The lowest point of the vortex began to flicker with a shimmery radiance when it reached extremely high speeds. Then, the bloodline power became separated on its own. Its circulation became similarly smooth, but more importantly, the bloodline power formed into a separate circulation on its own. Gradually, his bloodline aura was elevated just like when he was cultivating his soul power. The dual circulations went progressively from its initial choppy manner to a smooth process. The two powers did not seem to interfere with one another. In fact, they complemented each other subtly. The bloodline power was thick and strong on the outside while the mysterious heaven method soul power was being generated ceaselessly on the inside. The two powers surged continuously akin to the surging currents along the Yangtze River. The Golden Dragon King's ninth seal that was already broken produced rings of golden radiance as it stabilized the bloodline aura circulation outside his body such that Tang Wulin felt like he was born anew. He sensed a giant golden dragon seemingly leaping into the sky in his spiritual world. The dragon suspended above his sea of spirit. There were 9 golden light spots shimmering from the dragon's head to its tail that made it appear fierce and valiant. It was a terrifying aura that was indescribable. It seemed to fill the entire world to its brim. It was Tang Wulin's first time feeling the overbearingness that originated from the Golden Dragon King's energy. Its imperious power triumphed over everything and dominated all the life forms in the world. It felt as if it was no longer asleep as before. In fact, it felt as if everything should submit themselves before it. The Golden Dragon King bloodline in his body seemed to come alive. It had truly transformed into the Golden Dragon King, which reigned freely as it looked down on the world beneath it. It even felt like it was about to dash out of his body. At this moment, Tang Wulin finally understood why old Tang said that the latter 9 of the Golden Dragon King bloodline seals were completely different from the former 9. How could the sleeping Golden Dragon King compare to the awakened Golden Dragon King? It seemed like he needed to tame the Golden Dragon King in order to continue absorbing the energy contained in Golden Dragon King seals in the future. The danger which he was about to confront was especially terrifying. Tang Wulin took a breath of cold air as he was feeling worried. However, he could sense that the latter 9 Golden Dragon King seals were stronger than the former 9 seals countless times. In other words, it would be extremely difficult to break through the seals. Similarly, it would be just as difficult for the energy within the seals to break out. In any case, he would have lots of opportunities and time for preparation. The mysterious Heaven Method soul power and the Golden Dragon King bloodline energy circulated for 49 cycles before returning separately. The mysterious Heaven Method soul power was gathered in his soul power vortex, while the Golden Dragon King bloodline power was gathered around Tang Wulin's chest and seemed to form into another vortex as well. It was a golden vortex that was located on his chest. The group of people who were sitting by his side having their meals could see Tang Wulin's chest glowing. Rings of golden radiance bloomed outward from his chest such that his clothes could not even conceal it. Tang Wulin's aura continued to rise without stopping. He had just a 5-ring soul skill among the group of people who were a generation of great talents. Yet, they all felt the waves of compelling force radiating from his body. It was not possible that the compelling force came from his source power, rather it originated from his bloodline. The boy's bloodline aura is even more powerful than yours. I'm not referring to the energy in his bloodline but the origin aura. Zhenhua's eyes glowed brightly as he remarked to Mu Yi by his side. Mu Yi also had a peculiar expression on his face. I can sense that too. I didn't expect his bloodline to continue evolving. I thought that his bloodline was already completely opened up by me initially. He's revealing his true self now. His bloodline aura formed a self-circulation, and that's interesting. The amorous Doluo, Zongshin squinted his eyes as he muttered to himself, self-circulation. This signifies that his bloodline aura can possibly be like soul power that condenses into something similar to a soul core. There hasn't been any soul master capable of doing this according to Tang sect's ancient recordings. Could it be that a portion of this child's bloodline belongs to a soul beast? All of you should know that it's possible for soul beasts to condense soul cores after the soul beasts cultivate to 10,000-year cultivation bases. Most of their soul cores originated from their bloodlines, which were different from the soul masters. Once the soul beast is dead, the soul core will transform into a soul ring, while the most powerful or special soul core can even affect its skeleton to evolve into soul bones. Zhenhua suddenly spoke to Zongshin and everyone else on the scene solemnly. I have a request. I hope that everyone can keep a secret from my disciple nephew. I don't want the Federation to take him away and make him a test subject. Zongshin smiled. You're thinking way too much. It may be the case if it was someone else, but not him. He's from Tang sect. Not only that, he's also Tang sect's future successor who will certainly enter the worship hall or even the Dolor hall. Moreover, don't you forget he's also one of the Shrek 7 monsters of this generation. Do you think that Shrek Academy will allow its students to be test subjects? As he was saying that, his gaze swept past the few people from Spirit Pagoda and the Battle Soul Hall naturally. He had not yet unleashed his imposing manner, but those people were already feeling fearful. There was no doubt that Zongshin's words not only represented himself but the entire Tang sect. You missed out one thing. He's also a member of Body Sect and my official heir. Mu Yi spoke with a slight arrogance. Zongshin darted a look at him. He gave a calm smile but did not speak anymore. Frankly, Mu Yi was a little troubled and even glared at Zhenhua out of rage. If not for Zhenhua's dragon blood wine, Tang Wulin would not have exposed so much of himself today before so many powerhouses. His exposure this time was not beneficial to himself. Mu Yi was figuring out a way to abduct Tang Wulin in the future so that Tang Wulin could inherit the sect master position of Body Sect. It was only because Tang Wulin's cultivation base was still below expectation currently that Mu Yi was not in too much of a rush. Nonetheless, Tang Wulin was already targeted by Zongshin, so Tang Wulin would naturally be in the Tang sect's high-ranking officials' attention. Zongshin had passed Tang Wulin the Tang sect's ice fire seal earlier, so most likely he noticed the distinctive features of this boy. It would be even more difficult for Mu Yi to make a claim on Tang Wulin in the future. Zhenhua appeared all innocent, although he was feeling joyous in his heart. His disciple nephew was akin to a dragon hiding in deep waters. Tang Wulin could possibly soar up to the sky at one go if he wanted to do so. The child had a stable and calm mentality. Not only was he humble and gentle, he was becoming more resolute in his development. Zhenhua was quite regretful because it would have been better today without the presence of the Battle Soul Hall and Spirit Pagoda's representatives. The group of people had drunk 3 cups of wine each before Tang Wulin heaved a sigh of relief and slowly opened his eyes. The aura from his body was retracted as everything returned to normal. In the split second when he opened his eyes, the group of people saw a stream of bright light flash past his eyes. The light was so brilliant that it mesmerized all of them, including Zongxin. In that split second, no one noticed that his pupils were not round like an ordinary human's but vertical slits burning a dazzling gold. With a flash, his eyes returned to normal. Tang Wulin felt his bones and limbs relax, and he now had an undying strength. Although he had only broken the 9th seal, he felt like his strength had multiplied many times. It felt amazing. "Come and eat if you've awakened," Zhenhua said with a smile. Tang Wulin hastily stood up and spoke a little bashfully. "My apologies, Uncle Master, Teacher, Seniors. I didn't know that." Zongxin waved his hand. "It's all right. This is your chance. Come and eat, but don't drink any more dragon blood wine." Smiling awkwardly, Tang Wulin pulled up a chair and joined the meal. The crowd had been watching him so closely that they had hardly touched their plates. With their cultivation bases, they no longer required food for sustenance anyway. This was not the case for Tang Wulin. His hunger had not diminished despite how much his cultivation base had elevated. He feasted ravenously and felt his body become even more at ease. After all, the dishes that had been served were made using the finest ingredients. The rest of the group bid their farewells after the meal. Only Zhenhua and Mu Yi were left. Zhenhua spoke to Mu Yi, "Get in line. My nephew disciple is here for me." Mu Yi snorted. "You're the one providing food and accommodation, so there's no rush." He patted Tang Wulin's shoulder and walked away, leaving Tang Wulin and Zhenhua behind. Zhenhua sighed softly. "Wulin, do you know that breaking through today in front of so many people, it's a double-edged sword?" Tang Wulin's chest tightened. "Uncle Master, what do you mean?" Zhenhua spoke. "Mu Yi, Senior Zongxin and I are fine because you're one of us in a sense. We're proud that you're gifted with extraordinary talents. However, those people from the Battle Soul Hall and the Spirit Pagoda, albeit our allies, are competitors in some sense too. Of course, I'm only a blacksmith, so it's fine with me, but it's different for the Tang sect, Shrek Academy and even the Body sect. I'm afraid that though the Battle Soul Hall's intention for you to join them earnestly is quite clear, the Tang sect may not be willing to let you go. This involves a conflict between powers at the highest level. Of course, you've revealed your potential before this group of people today, so this will only cause the Tang sect to value your presence even more, while the Battle Soul Hall and the Spirit Pagoda's higher-ups will pay more attention to you. It's up to your development in the future. However, you must remember this, no matter how you choose or what happens in the future, most crucially, you must be strong enough. Depending on others' strength and acting accordingly to the situation may be important, but they are never as vital as becoming powerful yourself. It's only when you're so equipped that you'll be able to stand your ground." Yes. Tang Wulin truly felt inspired. He was aware of this since he was young. Father once told him that the only person he could fully trust and depend on for eternity in this world would be himself. Zhenhua smiled. "However, there's no need to be too worried because you're still young, after all. Potential is one thing, but it's another thing if you're capable of transforming potential into power. Moreover, you still have Shrek Academy behind you and you're a blacksmith. If you're capable of achieving the status of Saint Craftsman soon, then you'll definitely be a rare resource for anyone. The higher your achievement in forging, the better you'll able to conceal your other abilities, so you can protect yourself. Hence, stay here for this period of time. I heard from your teacher that you're already halfway to Saint Craftsman now, so I won't release you before you reach such a rank this time." Tang Wulin could not help smiling upon seeing his Uncle Master's craftiness, which he did not even attempt to hide. Uncle Master wished for him to reach a higher level in forging anyhow. After all, what more could be more important than forging in a Saint Craftsman's eyes? On the other hand, it was genuinely important for Tang Wulin himself to be able to have a breakthrough in his forging skills. Surprisingly, Zhenhua did not guide him on how to perform soul forging, but he perfected Tang Wulin's skill in every detail of forging, like extracting silk from a cocoon. Even though Tang Wulin was already doing very well, Zhenhua would always find some flaws in his forging process. Then, he would instruct Tang Wulin to perform fuse forging on all sorts of metals so that he could sense the minute changes in the metal's properties. Tang Wulin's spiritual cultivation base had already entered Spirit Abyss. His soul power and bloodline power had increased steadily after this breakthrough, so his soul power cultivation base managed to reach rank 54 due to his bloodline energy stripping. His bloodline power increased exponentially as well, till he could not only elevate his forging abilities but also gradually control his newfound strength. Gradually, he immersed himself in the world of forging wholeheartedly and forgot about the time in the outside world. He was invested in it in both body and soul. "Have you achieved a breakthrough?" Mu Yi inquired closely. "Yes." "Have you truly achieved a breakthrough?" Mu Yi said once again. Tang Wulin looked at his teacher with a speechless expression. "Teacher, you've already asked this question over 20 times. It's true. You can ask Uncle Master if you don't believe me." The corners of Mu Yi's lips twitched once. "There's no need for that. I believe you, but it's rather difficult for me to accept a saint craftsman of just over 20 years old." Tang Wulin's lips curved into a beautiful arc, yet it is the truth. How could his heart not be overjoyed? Yes, he had finally achieved a breakthrough the previous night. In reality, it had already been over 4 years since he became a rank 6 blacksmith. The speed of his breakthrough this time was not as fast as it had been previously. However, making one giant leap had always been exceedingly difficult in the world blacksmiths. From thousand refinement to spirit forging to soul forging, every step was akin to crossing a moat. Every step taken to cross a boundary had an entirely new field of influence in the forging world and even the whole continent. The treatment given to a saint craftsman and master craftsman was 100 times better. The price difference between soul-forged and spirit-forged metal was like that as well. Spirit forging gave life to the metal, so that metal after spirit forging was akin to a plant. On the other hand, soul forging gave intelligence to metal. Even though it was only the most elementary intelligence, the metal would be able to learn to think. These two forging methods were extremely different. Hence, Mu Yi could not stop asking for confirmation when he found out that Tang Wulin had finally completed the breakthrough the day before and finished his first piece of soul-forged metal at last. On the other hand, Zhenhua had not appeared at all that day, but Mu Yi could imagine how excited Zhenhua would be when he found out. Mu Yi exhaled as he spoke. "Boy, you truly are." Tang Wulin blinked his eyes. "Teacher, I thought that you're going to teach me a body sect technique, right? When are we going to start?" Mu Yi suddenly smiled. "Aren't you proud that you've become a saint craftsman?" I'll give you a taste for showing off in front of me soon." Tang Wulin shuddered when he immediately recalled how he was almost tortured to death on the ship. However, he calmed down very soon because he had undergone Demon Island's military training. What could be more painful than being tormented by those 7 old demons? The old demons were not only tormenting their bodies, but they had taken an even heavier toll on their souls. That part was more terrifying than anything else. Your body's condition is different from the martial souls our body sect cultivated in the past. Relatively speaking, I'm willing to categorize your martial soul as a bloodline. Body sect doesn't have any technique to cultivate bloodline. Thus, I'm going to teach you how to control your body. If you have a body brimming with an uncontrollable strength, it's impossible to truly grab hold of the profound mystery of strength no matter how strong you are. Your body's energy is precisely like that. There are countless mysteries to the human body, such as how to trigger it, how to control it, how to channel the power of a few times more than your body's energy. I'm going to teach you these. Thank you, teacher. So when do we begin? Now. Tang Wulin stayed in Heavendoe City for a full month before he finally returned. Thanks to the Tang sect combat vehicle, he had no need to commute by soul train. It would not be right for him to cause more train wrecks. By the time he drove back to Shrek City, he was already 5 days too late for the date he had set to meet up with his companions. However, Shrek Academy did not ask too much from its inner court disciples but instead gave them space to explore themselves. It was just the same for the current generation of the Shrek 7 monsters. Undoubtedly, Tang Wulin had made massive gains over the past month. He had broken through the 9th layer of the Golden Dragon King seal, separated his soul power and bloodline, advanced to Saint Craftsman and learned to control his body. It felt more like he had unleashed everything from the past few years during that one short month. It had already been more than 4 years since his visit to Star Luo Empire back then. Whether it was his experience burying dragons or training on the Demon Island afterward, it was a process of accumulating experience over the past 4 years for him. As they said, well begun is half done. He had finally come to understand what he was capable of during his month in Heaven Do City. He headed straight for the inner court and returned to the small wooden shed that once belonged to Yue and himself. He was even wondering if Yue had already returned or at least left behind a word or two for him in the shed. It would be wonderful even if it was just a letter. A layer of thin dust covered the inside of the wooden shed. There was nothing else besides that. The moment Tang Wulin entered the wooden shed, his once bright eyes could not help but turn downcast. She had not returned, and there was still no sign of her. What sort of issue had made her this heartless? She was obviously fond of him, yet she was so determined to leave. There was also Enea. Where had she gone? Tang Wulin could only feel as waves of pain throbbed inside his chest. He already knew very well that he should study at the academy. He needed more time to accumulate experiences, cultivate and elevate himself. Even so, he was feeling like he could not concentrate anymore. Whatever the case, one would need to become a 2-word battle armor master in order to graduate from the inner court. Generally, one's soul power would need to be at rank 60 or higher when completing the armor before one could become a 2-word battle armor master. Tang Wulin clenched his fists subconsciously. He would join his companions as they strived to become 2-word battle armor masters this time. After becoming a 2-word battle armor master, he put all his efforts into fulfilling his wish to gain more power. He would then go searching for his parents, Enea and Yue. He inhaled a deep breath and smelled the familiar scent of the ring as he put aside the dejection he felt in his heart. He was already 20 years old now. He had reached this point bit by bit after his parents' departure 10 years ago. He had encountered many difficulties and hardships, but he managed to overcome everything one step at a time. He was far more determined than the average person. He managed to suppress the pain in his heart by telling himself that there was still hope. He would get better for sure if he could become more powerful in the future. Tang Wulin opened the soul communicator which he had kept off for over a month and recharged it with an infusion of a little soul power. He then dialed Yi Xinglan's soul communicator number. Wulin? Yi Xinglan's voice came through. She sounded just as calm as she had been before. It's me. I've returned. Has everybody else come back as well? Shu Lishi was also heard on the other end of the soul communicator. Big brother, you're finally back. We thought that you'd gone missing again. It's good that you're back. Where are you? Everyone's back. We'll come to you. Tang Wulin spoke. I'm on Sea God's Island. Come over. The Shrek 7 monsters had the privilege of entering Sea God's Island at their leisure, a privilege not given to the rest of the inner court students. It did not take long after those familiar faces appeared that Tang Wulin broke into a joyous smile. Despite parting for only a month, Tang Wulin still felt a great warmth when he saw them again. At least, he had these incredible companions by his side. Big brother, why do I feel like there's something different about you? Xie could move the fastest, so he was the first one to arrive at Tang Wulin's side. Tang Wulin shrugged. What's different then? Xie frowned. Something's different. I'll describe it with the words of my teacher. It feels different, and it's called the sixth sense. Speed Hall's master Liang Xiaoyu was his teacher. Liang Xiaoyu told him that the sixth sense was extremely important as an agility-type soul master. A powerful sixth sense would allow him to have the swiftest reaction speed. Tang Wulin chuckled and spoke, do you really want to know? Xie immediately turned vigilant. He was acquainted with Tang Wulin for the longest time, and he understood him the most, so he knew that Tang Wulin was coming up with an evil idea when he was laughing in the gentlest manner. No. Xie shook his head without the slightest hesitation. I want to. I want to. Yue Zhengyu came over with a smile on his face. His spirit seemed to have already recovered from the terrible experience on Demon Island. Tang Wulin took a look at him, then at Yi Xinglan. It seemed like they had changed quite a lot in the past month. It seemed like the issue between them was already solved. Big brother, don't look at her. I visited her home and then I brought her to mine as well. Both of our parents have already approved our marriage at any time. However, we plan to discuss that further when we become more powerful. Marriage? Tang Wulin was caught off guard when he heard the word. Xie raised his leg swiftly and kicked Yue Zhengyu's backside. Why are you mentioning a subject so sensitive to him? We're all couples here, so is it good to talk about this in front of Big Brother? Do you know how torturous this is for him? Big Brother is already pitiful for being a single dog, so how could you do that? I never do that, right, Yuinan? Yuinan, I'm okay at any time as long as you're willing to marry me. I can do it now too. Enough, both of you. Tang Wulin spoke bitterly. I've mastered some of the skills I acquired earlier by studying them comprehensively over the past month. That's why you may feel that something is different about me. Since everyone is present, we shall head to the trial arena on the island. Both of you shall battle against me together. Xie and Yue Zhengyu took a glance at each other. They had doubts about the idea. Together? Are you certain, Big Brother? There was no doubt that they recognized Tang Wulin's power, but his soul power cultivation base had not elevated by much during his 3 years of disappearance. On the other hand, the rest of their powers had already surpassed him by a vast amount. Tang Wulin was still formidable by relying on his bloodline power, but they did not think that Tang Wulin was a worthy opponent in a match of 2 against 1. After all, they had come a long way from what they had been before. Everyone had undergone their training on the Demon Island separately, and it was mostly aimed at testing one's spirit and soul. It did not affect one's power much. Yue Zhengyu's lips cracked into a smile. That's great. Big Brother, it's settled. Xie sniggered. All right. We'll try then. Tang Wulin frowned, as he could see them harboring ill intention in their eyes. It appeared that they were very confident. Xu Xiaoyan covered her mouth and chuckled softly. She made a hand gesture at Tang Wulin, which Tang Wulin came to understand why was Yue Zhengyu so confident. However, was Tang Wulin not sure of himself as well? More importantly, he wished to learn the extent of his skills right now anyhow. The Sea God's Island Trial Arena was located on a hill. The arena was designed to be used by title Duluos, so it was definitely strong enough and would not have any issues. Tang Wulin's group of 7 walked in a line to the trial arena. Xu Lixi excitedly turned on the trial arena's protective shield on the side. As a food-type soul master, the rest of the squad's internal sparring had nothing to do with him. He would watch the match together with Xu Xiaoyan from the sidelines. Xu Xiaoyan's control-type soul skill acted in defiance of nature, so it would not be fair for any side for her to participate. Of course, they also felt a handicap match was unfair. Everyone was on the same level, so the higher their cultivation base, the greater the difference between them. Thus, everyone did not have high expectations of Tang Wulin, including Xu Xiaoyan. A fight of 2 against 1 could only be won if there was a real disparity. Xie and Yue Zhengyu were always fighting, but their relationship was actually very close. They could work in unison extremely well too, so it should not be a problem for them to fight Tang Wulin with their assault and agility skills. While Tang Wulin was achieving breakthroughs, they were not idling either. The Demon Island's experience had a huge impact on Yue Zhengyu, but he discovered in astonishment that his soul power and even his spiritual power had greatly improved ever since he overcame those ordeals. A faint divine radiance was emitting from Tang Wulin's face. He crossed his arms before his chest, then looked at Xie and Yue Zhengyu standing opposite him. The smile on his face grew wider. Yuan Yehui and Yi Xinglan were sitting on the side. Yuan asked Yi Xinglan, "Xinglan, who do you think will win?" Yi Xinglan had a faint smile on her face. "Are you not rooting for Xie anymore?" Yuan Yehui spoke, "Not really. Based on my understanding of them, Xie and Yue Zhengyu would stand a better chance if they were to join forces. After all, they're in a good position with their cultivation bases and they are familiar with each other's moves. However, I also understand Wu Lin well. When he fought against us back in the beginning during his first grade, he had won every battle. He appeared calm, but he was very cunning in reality. He would never fight a battle that he wasn't confident of winning. He would always shield everybody during the toughest moments. Zhengyu and Xie are not his equals based on their respective powers. Anyway, it's difficult to tell who's going to win the battle in the end. In any case, we're not as familiar with each other ever since our return from the Demon Island, especially with Tang Wulin. After all, he stayed in Star Luo Empire for such a long time and we haven't heard about his encounters there ever since his return. Yi Xinglan smiled and spoke, "We'll see then. If we were to place a bet, I'd go with Tang Wulin." Yuan and Yehui spoke in astonishment. Why? She was slightly hesitant, yet she could tell from Yi Xinglan's expression that she was obviously confident in Tang Wulin. Yi Xinglan shook her head. "I don't know why either, but it's a feeling. Take a close look. Tang Wulin's aura seems different from before. Xie's sixth sense is right. As to how different it is, we shall wait and see. Wulin is sparring with them both today, so he's not doing this for fun." Yuan and Yehui nodded. Their gaze fell upon the arena in unison. Xu Xiaoyong giggled. "I'll be the referee. Are you guys ready?" The hilltop was not considered overly large with a diameter of only 300 meters. The place was not spacious enough to allow the 5-ring Soul King fighters to display their full powers, but it was equipped with a super-strong prohibition spell that prevented their energies from getting out of bounds. Tang Wulin nodded while Xie sniggered. "Big brother, we won't be merciful. I still remember how hard you hit me until I was blown away when we first met back in the beginning. I bear grudges." "Oh." Tang Wulin looked at him with a spurious smile. Xie turned his head to the side to look at Yue Zhengyu. Yue Zhengyu gave a humph. "Don't worry. My intention to triumph over him is much greater than yours. So, don't hold me back. F***CK. Xie made an obscene hand gesture at Yue Zhengyu. "I wonder who's holding whom back. Xiaoyan, we're ready." Xu Xiaoyan smiled and spoke, "All right. Begin then." She waved her hand once as she said that. Yue Zhengyu had already dashed toward Tang Wulin akin to a flying arrow in the next moment following Xiaoyan's signal. There were no fancy tricks. He was dashing forward by brute force alone with the distance between Xie and himself growing apart immensely. "Hey, wait for me. Do you even understand what working together means?" Xie was upset, but it was obvious that he was slow in making his move, so he fell behind Yue Zhengyu. When Yue Zhengyu was dashing forth with unprecedented momentum, his soul rings arose from underneath his feet swiftly. 4 purple and 2 black soul rings. Yes, 6 soul rings. A total of 6 rings. Xu Xiaoyan made a hand gesture of the number 6 at Tang Wulin earlier. 21-year-old Yue Zhengyu had fully unleashed his power as a prodigy of his generation within a few short years and became a 6-ring Soul Emperor powerhouse. Back at the beginning, in order to protect Xu Xiaoyan, he had launched the naturally endowed Holy Angel's lineage bloodline known as Sacrifice. He expended a large part of his life energy because of that. In fact, the Holy Angel's lineage had a special benefit from using Sacrifice. The divine skill Sacrifice enabled them to contemplate the profound meaning of the life flame and the holy flame. Even though a large portion of the life energy was consumed, the Holy Angel's lineage could benefit by experiencing the Holy Angel lineage's aura in a shorter period of time to elevate themselves. The series of tests on the Demon Island made Yue Zhengyu advance by leaps and bounds. Most importantly, he absorbed a massive amount of life energy over there, which not only replenished the life energy he consumed when he launched Sacrifice, but also simultaneously enhanced the life energy in his body. This was his inner secret which allowed him to have the courage to challenge Tang Wulin and made him believe that he stood a chance for victory. Even though Yue Zhengyu had some intense, bad memories on the Demon Island, he was the one with the most gains in his spiritual power and soul power. Recently, He had finally completed his breakthrough after receiving the approval from Xu Shaoyuan's family to get married. He attained the rank of Soul Emperor and became a member of the high-ranking Soul Masters. He was also equipped to possess a 2-word battle armor. The combination of 4 purple and 2 black soul rings was of the highest grade available. Dazzling holy flames arose from his body. His first soul ring was illuminated, accompanied by the appearance of a pair of pure white feathered wings on his back. Simultaneously, a ray of holy light fell upon his body. The holy light was a combination of attack and defense. Yue Zhengyu understood very well that it was utterly useless to attack Tang Wulin with the holy light, but it could enhance himself when it was attached to him. His pair of pure white feathered wings was tainted with a golden color in a split second. The Saint Sword appeared following that with the shimmering sword's radiance, which made him appear like an angel descending from heaven. The wings on his back flapped once, and Yue Zhengyu, akin to a ray of golden radiance in the sky, arrived at a diagonal spot above Tang Wulin. An enormous angel shadow appeared behind his back as he held the sword with both his hands and stabbed toward Tang Wulin without the slightest reservation. The stab appeared simple, but it was a combination of his first, second, and fourth soul skills. The angel's descent attack was unleashed just a moment before he attacked, such that the move was executed to perfection. The attack elevated his fighting capacity by 120%. Tang Wulin had not moved ever since Yue Zhengyu launched his attack. He remained standing at the same spot and did not even unleash his martial soul, but only smiled as he watched Yue Zhengyu dashing toward him. It was only when Yue Zhengyu suddenly increased the speed of his flapping wings when Tang Wulin finally showed some signs of astonishment on his face. A soft ding was suddenly heard precisely then. An illusory dagger appeared before Tang Wulin without any warning and pierced right into his chest. His right chest was hit, but it was not fatal. A crisp hum was heard during the moment the dagger pierced into his chest. Surprisingly, the dagger could not inch forward at all. Of course, the dagger did not belong to Yue Zhengyu. The illusory figure condensed ever so slightly to show Xie Xie's face filled with disbelief. How was this possible? While Yue Zhengyu was spreading his wings, his brilliant flames had completely concealed Xie Xie standing behind him. Earlier, Xie Xie had completely fallen behind while Yue Zhengyu sped up suddenly. Xie Xie should not have appeared at this spot no matter how. Yet, he was the one who completed the attack first. Even though he was only using the Shadow Dragon dagger, he had attacked with full force, piercing forward boldly. All the momentum gathered and attacking power burst forth during the split second when he pierced into Tang Wulin. However, Xie Xie felt as if his Shadow Dragon dagger had pierced into a lofty mountain such that he could not move forward at all. One could not help thinking that Xie Xie and Yue Zhengyu worked together very well. However, just when everyone thought that Yue Zhengyu attacked first, it was Xie Xie who was ahead in the attack. In fact, Xie Xie never thought that he could succeed with one attack, but it was enough as long as his attack was capable of attracting Tang Wulin's attention and destroyed his defense and attack rhythm. Yue Zhengyu's follow-up attack would arrive in the next moment. Yet, he had not expected that Tang Wulin did not have the slightest intention to block his attack. His Shadow Dragon dagger did not even cause any harm to Tang Wulin. He understood when he saw Tang Wulin crack a smile. Tang Wulin did not fail to sense his presence. On the contrary, Tang Wulin was not even planning to defend himself. It was at this moment when Tang Wulin made his move. His right foot stamped against the ground abruptly. A low rumble of the dragon's roar accompanied by a terrifying earthquake made the entire surroundings within 30 meters appear to collapse. It was the golden dragon shakes the earth. Yet, was this still the original golden dragon shakes the earth? This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.